Who would have thought this year's Simpsons Treehouse of Horror would take us into a world made of plastic? Once upon a time, Earth was full of life, but then a meteorite hit. In the future, all that oil turned into plastic. After hundreds of years, it piled up into plastic mountains and plastic rivers. A drifter spent half the day scouring the river just to find a piece of jerky. But before he could even enjoy it, a bully snatched it away. He immediately handed the jerky over to his leader. In this savage plastic future, there's only one place where civilization still exists, a group led by Lisa. Ever since Diaper Mountain collapsed, Lisa lost touch with her family. To find some inner peace, she found a Bible, which was actually just an old lifestyle magazine. The book told stories of humans from hundreds of years ago who used a filthy substance to grow an endless supply of food. That filthy stuff was called soil. So Lisa believed that deep beneath all this plastic, the legendary soil had to be there. That's why she had her team digging. The principal and Milhouse dug for ages until they finally found the dirt they were looking for. But Milhouse pulled out a celebrity tabloid. It was just a joke about how dirty the entertainment industry is. Disappointed, Lisa told Milhouse to keep digging until he found real soil. But Milhouse was completely exhausted. The plastic was way too deep. How were they supposed to dig? But then they realized what they needed was right there. An old Apu's convenience store. Inside, the last thing that happened was a deadly showdown between Snake and Apu. But the food in the store was frozen in time. It hadn't spoiled at all. It was a total goldmine. Everyone started feasting. Meanwhile, Lisa finally found the seeds humanity needed. Sunflower seeds, corn seeds, and even fried onion ring seeds. All they had to do was plant them for unlimited food. But then, the principal was suddenly killed. The person behind the mask was Bart. Lisa was in shock. How did Bart survive the collapse of Diaper Mountain? Well, as it turns out, when Bart fell, he landed in a plastic bin and slid down like he was on a bobsled. He eventually landed on a pile of foam fingers. Since then, Bart started his own gang of raiders, stealing from everyone. Lisa didn't want the future of humanity to end like this. She told Bart he could take the cakes and cookies, but he had to leave the chips to use as seeds. But Bart, being his usual rebellious self, did the opposite. As they were arguing, they suddenly heard Marge's voice outside. They ran out and were stunned to see their parents were still alive. After Diaper Mountain collapsed, Homer and Marge fell into a pool of nuclear waste. The intense radiation fused their bodies with the plastic. After months of agony, this is what they became. Now, Homer and Marge don't have to spend their days scavenging for scraps anymore. Now, they can satisfy their hunger just by eating plastic. Homer and Marge really wanted Bart and Lisa to join the plastic race. All they had to do was soak in the nuclear waste to melt their organs and transform. Homer called out the rest of the plastic tribe. Lisa realized then that her parents weren't human anymore, just a bunch of conscious plastic things. Everyone rushed into the convenience store, but the plastic people were too strong, since they didn't have physical bodies anymore. Bart's attacks did absolutely nothing. Just as the siblings were cornered, Bart had a bright idea. He grabbed some hairspray and combined it with his lighter. It was a match made in heaven. Seeing Nelson being bullied, Bart immediately blasted the fire at Lenny. But by accident, he turned Lenny's hand into a spike, which was bad news for Nelson. Then Nelson drank some syrup, which ended up melting Carl and Moe into a puddle. After the chaos, and with many lives lost, only the Simpsons were left. Bart and Lisa didn't hesitate. They set Homer and Marge on fire. But as they burned, they got sucked into a fan and blown into a milkshake machine. The humans finally defeated the plastic. But when they looked around, the food was gone. Was this really the end for the human race? Suddenly, the milkshake machine started up. A liquid poured out and formed into Maggie. It turns out Homer and Marge were still able to create Maggie. Bart wanted to finish her off, but Lisa felt that this baby was actually the next stage of human evolution. Our time is over. She is the future. This song is a cover of a very popular late 20th century American song, What a Wonderful World. They turned the classic jazz style into a rock version. As for the story's background, some of you might find it similar to Mad Max. Both feature polluted worlds, one from nuclear fallout and one from plastic. Both are post-apocalyptic and filled with primitive savagery. But personally, I think this episode is more like the movie Waterworld. In Waterworld, people live on the water, unable to find land, just like these people live on plastic and can't find any soil. In Waterworld, because some people lived in the water so long, They actually mutated and grew gills. In this episode, Homer and Marge mutated into plastic people through radiation. Of course, that same wasteland vibe from Waterworld is present here too. At the beginning of the episode, the narrator explains the history from the age of dinosaurs to the plastic age. This feels a lot like the educational animation from the 1993 sci-fi movie Jurassic Park. That movie also starts with the dinosaurs, and the person narrating the background story is actually the black actress on the cover of that celebrity magazine Milhouse had, Viola Davis. She's also the voice of Maggie in this episode. Earlier, she mentioned the world being covered in straws and boxes. That's a nod to an Italian candy company that loves using plastic boxes, which is why this episode is poking fun at them. We can also see Lisa standing in front of a bunch of Duracell batteries, and the book in Lisa's hand actually exists. It's a very famous global lifestyle magazine. In the convenience store, Bart's squad uses foam fingers with logos of old-school football team like the Raiders. They later moved and changed their name to the Las Vegas Raiders. I brought you this new Treehouse of Horror episode as soon as it dropped. If you enjoyed it, please long press the screen to recommend this video. Your follows and likes mean a lot. See you in the next one.